The Srimad Bhagavad Gita is known as the nectar of all the Upanishads. The divine scripture contains the entire Vedic philosophy in a condensed form and yet in a manner that makes it a perfect and systematic study of life, of the self, the mind, the ego, work, social responsibility, karma, and of dharma. The Seven Bells is a collection of selected shlokas from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita arranged in 7 sets to help a seeker attain 7 different objectives. 1. Understanding Krishna as the Divine Father and Mother. 2. Kill fear and anger. 3. Fight demotivation. 4. Destroy laziness. 5. Calming down and strengthening a weak mind. 6. Handling temptation. 7. Becoming dear to Bhagavan Krishna. The first bell. Bhagavan Krishna, the Divine Father and Mother. Shloka 707. Mattah parataram nan yatkinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. Beyond me, there is nothing superior. Everything is connected to me like pearls on a thread. 716. Chaturvidha bhajante mam janaha sukrutinarjuna arto jitnyasurartharthi jnani cha bharatarshapha. Among the pious, there are 4 kinds who are devoted to me. They are the distressed, those seeking knowledge, people desiring material gain, and people of wisdom. 717. Tesham jnani nitya yukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnaninyothyartamaham sacha mama priyaha. Of those, the one of wisdom who is engaged in devotional service is the best. I am dear to such a knower, and he or she in turn is dear to me. 718. Udaraha sarva evaite jnani tvatmaiva mematam astittah sahayuktatma mamevanuttamam gatim. While all these are certainly noble souls, the one of wisdom who is connected to me is with me because he or she is solely engaged in aiming for me as the highest attainment. 917. Pitamahasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vedyam pavitram omkara riksama yajurevacha. I am the father of this world, the mother, the dispenser of the fruits of actions, and the grandsire, the one thing to be known, the purifier, the sacred Om, and also the Rig, Yajur, and the Samavedas. 918. Gatir bharta prabhus sakshi nivasah sharanam suhrit prabhava pralayah sthanam nidhanam bijam avyayam. I am the supreme goal, the sustainer, the Bhagavan, the witness, the abode, the shelter, the friend, the origin, the dissolution, the foundation, the treasure house, and the imperishable seed. 922. Ananyas chantayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. To those people who worship me with a fixed mind and constantly meditate on me, I ensure that they get what they lack and preserve what they have. Shloka 1403. Mama yonir mahat brahma tasmin garbham tadhamyaham sambhavah sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata. O Arjuna, nature or the great Brahma is like my womb in which I place the impulse of creation, out of which everything comes into being. Shloka 1404. Sarvayo nishikaunteya murtayah sambhavanti yaha tasam brahma mahadyo niraham bija pradaha pita. Whatever forms are produced, Arjuna, in any womb whatsoever, the great Brahma is their womb, and I am the seed-giving father. Shloka 1855. Bhaktya mama bijanati yavanyaschasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. It is only through love and devotion that a person can know me truly. Knowing me thus, he enters into me at once. Shloka 1857. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogam upashritya matchittaha satatam bhava. Using the yoga of your intellect, dedicate all your actions to me. Have me as your highest goal. Devote yourself intensely to me, and you will always be under my protection. Be fully conscious of me all the time. Shloka 1865. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. Fix your mind on me. Always think of me. Be devoted to me. Sacrifice unto me, and you shall come to me. This is my promise to you, as you are dear to me. The second bell. Kill fear and anger. Fear is an unpleasant and often strong emotion which is caused by anticipation or awareness of danger. It is a primordial emotion that exists in all sentient beings. The emotion of fear is something that everyone has experienced at some point or the other in life. Most of us have experienced the fear of either losing someone, our honor, money, property, happiness, position, or also that of being attacked by someone. Whatever it is, fear is basically imagining something that has not happened yet. Even if it were fearing the repetition of some unpleasant incident in the past, it is still fear of something that has not happened until that point in time. The root cause of fear is attachment. Those who fear losing someone or something do so because of their attachment to the object they feel they would lose. The fear of losing one's reputation stems from one's ego. People who dread physical attacks fear damage to their body, which is sure to perish at the end of a janma or lifetime. A person who understands the impermanence of everything physical or materialistic and realizes that he or she has nothing to lose fears absolutely no one and nothing. In order to reach a higher level of understanding, it would be necessary to comprehend that a person's body, mind, intelligence, the senses, and the Atman are separate from one another. Studying the Srimad Bhagavad Gita helps clear misunderstandings that cause faulty thinking, which is one of the prime causes of all misery. Reading and imbibing the truth in these selected life-changing shlokas or verses from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita can aid in completely removing fear out of the mind. Remember that a disturbed mind can achieve nothing, and that a calm mind is the first requirement in preparing oneself to receive divine blessings. Please note that some verses are repeated in different contexts. Shloka 201. Sanjaya Uvacha Tam tatha kripaya vishtam ashrupurna kulekshanam Vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha Madhusudana. Sanjaya said, To Arjuna, who was overcome with compassion, pity, and sadness, whose eyes were filled with tears, Madhusudana or Krishna said as follows. Bhagavan Krishna begins his divine discourse. Shloka 202. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam. Anarya jushtamasvargyam makirtikaram Arjuna. The Supreme Bhagavan said, O Arjuna, where in this hour of crisis did these qualities like weakness, which are unbecoming of honorable men, come from and take over you? Such qualities will prevent you from reaching higher levels in life and will also ruin your honor and get you a bad reputation. Shloka 203. Klaibhyam asmagamah partha naitatva yupapadyate. Kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktvo tishtha parantapa. Do not give in to cowardice, which is not manly and does not suit you. Shed this weak-heartedness and get up, O destroyer of enemies. After Arjuna expressed his anguish, despondency, and weak-heartedness to Bhagavan Krishna, he made the wisest decision of totally surrendering before the Supreme Bhagavan with a sincere request to teach him just as a devoted student would do before his master. Shloka 207. Karpanya dosho pahatta svabhavaha prachami tvam dharma sammura cetaha yachreyasyan nishchitam bruhitanne shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Arjuna says, with my mind in a state of confusion regarding my duty and the feeling of helplessness because of weakness, I ask you to tell me what is good for me. I am your disciple and I have surrendered my soul to you. Please teach me. Shloka 214. Matra sparshasta kaunteya shitoshna sukhadukkadaha agama payino nityas tam stitikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, impermanent things like happiness and sadness, heat and cold in summer and winter, come and go. They are temporary, so learn to endure them. Shloka 254. Arjuna Vacha. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitatihi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. Arjuna said, what is a man, O Keshava, who is steady in samadhi or self-realization called? How does such a man talk? How does he sit? And how does he walk? Shloka 255. Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyate. Sri Bhagavan Krishna said, one who gives up all desires of the mind, O Partha, and when one has a purified mind and is in a pure state of the soul, he is called a sthita prajna, or a man of steady consciousness. Shloka 256. Dukkheshvanut vignamanaha sukheshu vigataspruhaha vitaraga bhayakrodaha sthitadir muniruchyate. He who is not agitated or disturbed is also not euphoric when he has comfort and is free from attachment, fear and anger, is a sage with a steady mind. Shloka 257. Yas sarvatran abhisnes tattat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratishtitha. He who is free from attachment and neither rejoices when he achieves good nor hates evil has steady wisdom and perfect knowledge. Shloka 260. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha Indriyani pramatini haranti prasabham manah. The senses, which are so strong, O son of Kunti, can forcibly lead astray even the mind of the wisest person. Shloka 261. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajnasya pratishtita. He who keeps his senses under control and meditates on me by fully surrendering unto me has steady intelligence. Shloka 262. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate. A person who thinks of sense objects develops an attachment for them. From this attachment, desires are born, and from desires, anger is born. Shloka 263. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. Anger gives birth to delusion, and this delusion results in the confusion of memory. When memory is confused, intelligence is destroyed, and from the destruction of intelligence, the person perishes. Shloka 264. Ragadvesha vimuktaistu vishayanindriyaischaran atmavashyair vidheyatma prasadamadigatjati. But the person who controls his senses, in spite of being with sense objects, is free from both attachment as well as aversion. Such a person attains serenity. Shloka 265. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyupajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi paryavatishtate. When serenity of mind through divine consciousness is achieved, all material miseries are destroyed, and the intelligence of such a person is steady. Shloka 267. Indriyanam hicharatam yanmano nuvidiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayurnavamivambhasi. Any one of the senses that the mind follows and concentrates on can lead astray the wisdom of a person, just the way a strong wind moves a ship sailing on water away from its course. Shloka 268. Tasmad yasya mahabaho nigrahitani sarvashah indriyan indriyartebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita. Therefore, O mighty armed one, a person whose senses are bridled before objects of desire has steady wisdom. Shloka 524. Yontah sukhondara ramastatantar jyotireva yah sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto digacchati. A person who is ever happy within, who rejoices within, and who is illumined within, is a yogi who attains absolute freedom, total self-realization, and moksha. Such a person becomes one with the Supreme Bhagavan or Brahman. Shloka 525. Labhante brahma nirvanam rishaya kshena kalmashaha chinnadvaidhaya tatmanaha sarvabhuta hite rataha. Those whose sins have been destroyed, whose minds are clear of doubts, and are always engaged in working for the welfare of all living beings, achieve a liberation and absorption in the Supreme Bhagavan or Brahman. Shloka 526. Kama krodha viyuktanam yatinam yatachetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. Sages who are free from passion and anger, who have their mind under control, who have realized the self and are constantly aiming for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme, here and hereafter. Shloka 633. Arjuna Uvacha. Yoyam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sthitim stiram. Arjuna said, "This yoga of equanimity taught by you, Krishna, I do not see its steady continuance because of restlessness of the mind." Shloka 634. Chanchalam himanaha Krishna pramati balavadrudam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. The mind is certainly restless, turbulent, strong and unyielding, O Krishna. I think it is extremely difficult to control it, just as the wind is. Shloka 635. Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. The blessed Bhagavan said, "Undoubtedly, O mighty armed one, the mind is difficult to control and restless, but it can be restrained through practice and dispassion." Shloka 636. Asamyatat mana yogo dushprapa iti me matihi vashyat manatu yatata shakyo vaptumupayataha. Yoga is difficult to attain for a person whose mind is not controlled, but it is possible for one who has his mind under control and works through righteous means. Shloka 1601. Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Abhayam sattva samshuddhir jnana yoga vyavastite danam damascha yajñascha svadhyayastapa arjavam. 1602. Ahimsa satyam akrodhas tyagah shantirapaishunam daya bhuteshva loluptvam mardavam khira chapalam. Shloka 1603. Teja kshama dhriti shaucha madroho natimanita bhavanti sampadam daivim abhijatasya bharata. Shloka 1601, 1602 and 1603. Sri Bhagavan Krishna said, "Fearlessness, purity of the mind or sattva, perseverance in the yoga of knowledge, charity, controlling of the senses, performing sacrifice, studying of scriptures, practicing austerity and straightforwardness, practicing non-violence, being truthful, giving up anger, renunciation, peacefulness, not possessing crookedness, compassion towards other beings, being free from desire, gentleness, modesty, prudence, splendor, patience, determination, purity, benevolence, absence of arrogance. All these are saintly qualities of one born in a divine state, O Arjuna." Shloka 1604. Dambo darpo pimanascha krodha paryushamevacha ajnanam chapi jatasya partha sampadamasurim. Fraud, impudence, arrogance, rage and rudeness, as well as ignorance, arise in the one born in a demoniacal state, O Arjuna. 1605. Devi sampat vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata mashucha sampadam devim abhijatosi pandava. Divine qualities lead to liberation, while demoniacal qualities cause bondage. Do not worry, O Arjuna, because you were born with divine qualities. Shloka 1621. Trividam narakasyedam dvaram nashanamapmanah kamah krodhas tatha lobhas tasmadettatrayam tyajet. There are three gates to the hell of destroying oneself. They are lust, anger, and greed. These three should therefore be given up. The third bell, Fighting Demotivation. Shloka 2:14. Matra sparshasta kaunteya, shitosha sukhadukkadaha, agama payino nityas tam stitikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, impermanent things like happiness and sadness, heat and cold in summer and winter, come and go. They are temporary, so learn to endure them. Shloka 2:33. Athachetvam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi, tatha swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam avapsyasi. If you don't fight this battle of dharma or righteousness, you will be a sinner by failing in your duty, and it will cause the loss of your standing as a warrior. Shloka 6:07. Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahitah, shitoshana sukhadukkeshu tatha manapamanayoho. The one who has conquered the mind has already reached superconsciousness. Such a person has crossed all dualities such as cold and heat, pleasure and pain, honor and dishonor, and is always balanced, peaceful, and steadfast in devotion. Shloka 9:22. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate, tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. To those people who worship me with a fixed mind and constantly meditate on me, I ensure that they get what they lack and preserve what they have. Shloka 9:27. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yadjuhoshi dadasi yat, yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give, whatever you practice as austerity, Arjuna, do it for me and as an offering unto me. Shloka 9:28. Shubha shubhaphalairevam mokshase karma bandhanaihi, sannyasa yoga yuktatma vimukto mamupashyasi. By doing so, you will be freed from the bonds of action that result in good and in bad. By being free and with your mind guided by the principle of the yoga of renunciation, you will attain me. Shloka 9:30. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mamananya bhag, sadhureva samantavyah samyak vavasito hisah. Even if the most sinful worships me with exclusive devotion, he should indeed be regarded as righteous, for he has taken the right resolution. Shloka 11:33. Tasmatvam uttishta yesho labhasva, jitva shatrun bhungsho rajyam samruddham, maye vaite niyataha purvameva nimittamatram bhavasavyasachin. Therefore get up and attain glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a prosperous kingdom. All these warriors have already been destroyed by me. You are merely an instrument, O Arjuna, the ambidextrous one. Shloka 12:15. Yasman nodvijate loko lokan nodvijate chayah, harsha marsha bhayodvegair mukto yasachame priyah. The one who neither troubles others nor is agitated by the world and is free from joy, envy, fear, and anxiety is dear to me. Shloka 18:48. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham apinatyajet, sarvarambha hi doshena dhumenagmirivavratah. O Arjuna, every undertaking is veiled by faults just as fire is by smoke. Therefore, a person should not abandon duties born of their own nature, even if one perceives flaws in them. Shloka 18:57. Cetasa sarva karmani मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव. Using the yoga of your intellect, dedicate all your actions to me. Have me as your highest goal. Devote yourself intensely to me, and you will always be under my protection. Be fully conscious of me all the time. Shloka 1858. Macchittah sarva durgani matprasadat tarishyasi athachetvam ahankaran nashroshyasi vinangshasi. By being fully conscious of me always, you will overcome all obstacles and hardships due to my divine grace. However, a person who thinks of himself all the time due to his pride and ego and chooses to ignore this advice of mine is sure to perish. Shloka 1866. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami marshachah. Giving up all your ideas of righteousness or religion, take complete refuge in me. I will liberate you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. The fourth bell. Destroy laziness. Shloka 238. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Fight the battle treating alike pleasure and pain, gain and loss, as well as victory and defeat. By doing so, you will not sin. Shloka 308. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajayo hya karmanaha sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhyeda karmanaha. Do the duties prescribed for you, because action is better than inaction. Even the maintenance of the body cannot be done without doing work. Shloka 309. Yajnarthat karmano nyantra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Work binds people to the material world. Hence, O son of Kunti, do your duty perfectly well as a sacrifice for the Bhagavan, so that you can be free from all bondage and attachment. Shloka 320. Karmanaiva hi samsiddhi mastita janakadayaha lokasangrahamevapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. Even Janaka and other kings attained perfection through action. Your actions have to be for the benefit of the world. Shloka 325. Saktaha karmanya vidvamso yata kuruvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tatha saktas chikirshur lokasangraham. Just as ignorant people perform actions with attachment to the result, learned people perform work but with no attachments. Their desire, if at all, is only the welfare of the world. Shloka 510. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karodya lipyatena sapapena padmapatram mivambhasa. One who dedicates all his actions to the Supreme Bhagavan and gives up all attachment to his works is untouched by sin, just as a lotus leaf is by water. Shloka 525. Labhante brahma nirvana varshya kshina kalmashaha chinnadvaidhayatatmanaha sarvabhuta hiterataha. Those whose sins have been destroyed, whose minds are clear of doubts, and are always engaged in working for the welfare of all living beings, achieve liberation and absorption in the Supreme Bhagavan. Shloka 1133. Tasmatva muttishta yasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhungshva rajyam samruddham mayavaite nehataha purvameva nimittamatram bhavasavya sachin. Therefore, get up and attain glory. conquer your enemies, and enjoy a prosperous kingdom. All these warriors have already been destroyed by me. You are only an instrument, O Arjuna, the ambidextrous one. Shloka 1155. Matkarma krunmat paramo madbhaktaha sangavarjitaha nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu yassamameti pandava. The one who is engaged in doing my work and considers me the supreme goal is free from contamination of the mind with previous activities and doubts, is free from attachment, has no enmity towards any creature, and is friendly with every living entity, certainly comes to me, O Arjuna. Shloka 1839. Yadagre chanubandhe cha sukham mohanamatmanah nidralasya pramadottham tattamasudahartam. The pleasure which shrouds self-realization right from the beginning until the end is derived from sleep, indolence, and delusion, is declared to be tamasic. The fifth bell, calming down and strengthening a weak mind. Shloka 127. Tam samikshasa kaunteya sarvan bandhun avastitan kripaya paraya vishto vishidan nidamapravit. Sanjaya said, seeing all his kinsmen assembled together, the son of Kunti, or Arjuna, was overcome with great compassion and spoke as follows. Shloka 128. Arjuna vacha drishtvemam svajanam Krishna yuyutsam samupasthitam sedanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishishyati. Arjuna said, O Krishna, seeing my kinsmen and friends in a belligerent state of mind, my limbs are failing and my mouth is parched. Shloka 129. Vepatushcha sharire me romaharshascha jayate gandivam sramsate hastat tvakacheva paritahyate. My body is quivering and I have goose flesh. I feel my bow Gandiva slipping from my hands and my skin burning. Shloka 146. Yadi mama pratikarama shastram shastrapanayah dhartarashra rane hanyustanme kshemataram bhavet. It would be better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra killed me with weapons while I stood unarmed and not resisting. Shloka 202. Shri Bhagavan vacha Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam anaryajushtama makirtikaram Arjuna. The Supreme Bhagavan said, O Arjuna, where in this hour of crisis did these qualities like weakness, which are unbecoming of honorable men, come from and take over you? Such qualities will prevent you from reaching higher levels in life and will also ruin your honor and get you a bad reputation. Shloka 203. Klaibyam masma gamapartha naitatva yupapadyate kshudram hridayadorbalyam tyaktvo tishta parantapa. Do not give in to cowardice, which is not manly and does not suit you. Shed this weak-heartedness and get up, O destroyer of enemies. Shloka 214. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shritoshna sukhadukkadaha agama payino nityastam stitikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, impermanent things like happiness and sadness, heat and cold, and summer and winter come and go. They are temporary, so learn to endure them. Shloka 231. Swadharmam apichavekshana vikampitum dharmyadhi yudachrayon kshatriyasya na vidyate. Considering your duty as a kshatriya, You should not falter, as there is no greater work for you than a battle which protects dharma or righteousness. Shloka 233. Athachetvamimam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tatha svadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam avapsyasi. If you don't fight this battle of dharma or righteousness, you will be a sinner by failing in your duty, and it will cause the loss of your standing as a warrior. Shloka 238. Sukha dukhe samekrutva labha labho jaya jayo tatho yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. So fight the battle, treating alike pleasure and pain, gain and loss, as well as victory and defeat. By doing so, you will not sin. Shloka 241. Vyavasayatmika buddhirekeha kurunandana bahu shaka hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. In this path, O descendant of the Kurus, there is a single point of focus and determination. The thoughts of the undecided are branched and are infinite. Shloka 507. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma bhutatma kuruvannapi na lipyate. A person who is devoted to the path of selfless action, has a pure mind or a purified soul, has his body and senses under control, is compassionate to all living beings, and sees himself in them, although engaged in work, is never in bondage. Shloka 605. Uddaredat manatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano banduratmaiva ripuratmanaha. You must lift yourself with your own mind and should not degrade yourself when you fall. The mind is a friend as well as the enemy of the self. Shloka 606. Bandhuratmat manastasya yenatmaivat manajitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. The mind is the greatest friend of the one who has conquered it, but of the one who hasn't, the mind is the greatest enemy. Shloka 626. Yato yato nischarati manaschanchalamasstiram tatastato niyam yaitadatman yeva vasham nayet. Wherever and whenever the mind wanders restlessly because of its unsteady quality, it should be restrained and brought back under the control of the self. Shloka 634. Chanchalam hi manaha Krishna pramati balavadrudam tasyaham nigraham manye vayo iva sudushkaram. Arjuna said, the mind is certainly restless, turbulent, strong and unyielding, O Krishna. I think it is extremely difficult to control it, just as the wind is. Shloka 635. Sri Bhagavan Avacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Manodur Nigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Gruhyate. The blessed Bhagavan said, undoubtedly, O mighty armed one, the mind is difficult to control and restless, but it can certainly be restrained through practice and dispassion. Shloka 7.7. Mattaha parataram nan yatkinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. Beyond me there is nothing superior. Everything is connected to me like pearls on a thread. Shloka 10.09. Machitta madgata prana bodhayantaha parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. The minds of my devotees are fully engaged in me. Their lives are devoted to me. They attain great transcendental bliss by preaching about me to one another. Shloka 11.33. Tasmat Vamuttishta Yasho Labhasva Jitva Shatrun Bhungshva Rajyam Samruddham Mayaivaite Nihataha Purvameva Nimittamatram Bhavasavya. Therefore, get up and attain glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a prosperous kingdom. All these warriors have already been destroyed by me. You are only an instrument, O Arjuna, the ambidextrous one. Shloka 1154. Bhaktya tvananyaya shakyamahamevam vidurjuna Nyatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. By single-minded devotion and dedication, I can be seen and known like this, and in fact, one can even become one with me, a mighty armed one. Shloka 1155. Matkarma krinmat paramo madbhaktaha sangavarjitaha nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu yasamameti pandava. The one who is engaged in doing my work and considers me the supreme goal is free from contamination of the mind with previous activities and doubt, is free from attachment, has no enmity towards any creature, and is friendly with every living entity, certainly comes to me, O Arjuna. Shloka 1716. Manah prasadaha saumyatvam maunamatma vinigrahaha bhava samshuddhirityeta tapo manasumuchyate. Tranquility of the mind, inner contentment, silence, self-control, and purification of one's own mind are qualities called mental tapas, or austerity of the mind. Shloka 1857. Cetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogam upashritya macchittaha satatam bhava. Using the yoga of your intellect, dedicate all your actions to me. Have me as your highest goal. Devote yourself intensely to me, and you will always be under my protection. Be fully conscious of me all the time. Shloka 1866. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shujah. Giving up all your ideas of righteousness or religion, take complete refuge in me. I will liberate you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Shloka 1871. Shraddhavan anasuyascha shrunuyadapi yodaraha sopi muktaha shubham lokan prapnuyat punya karmanam. Even a person who merely hears this divine conversation with deep faith and without malice will attain liberation and the auspicious worlds of righteous people. The sixth bell, handling temptation. Shloka 260. Yatato yapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. The senses which are so strong, O son of Kunti, can forcibly lead astray even the mind of the wisest person. Shloka 261. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajnasya pratishtita. He who keeps his senses under control and meditates on me by fully surrendering unto me has steady intelligence. Shlokas 262 and 263. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bhijayate krodhat bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. A person who thinks of sense objects develops an attachment for them. From this attachment, desires are born, and from desires, anger is born. Anger gives birth to delusion, and this delusion results in the confusion of memory. When memory is confused, intelligence is destroyed, and from the destruction of intelligence, the person perishes. Shloka 267. Indriyanam hiccharatam yanmano nuvidhiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayurnavamivambasi. Any of the senses that the mind follows and concentrates on can lead astray the wisdom of a person, just the way a strong wind moves a ship sailing on water away from its course. Shloka 268. Tasmad yasya mahabaho nigruhittani sarvashah indriyan indriyartebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita. Therefore, O mighty armed one, a person whose senses are bridled before objects of desire has steady wisdom. Shloka 270. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham samudramapaha pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantimapnoti na kamakami. He who is steady in spite of the never-ending flow of desires, just like the ocean is, although so many rivers enter it, can attain peace. But one who is desirous of pleasures cannot achieve it. Shloka 334. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadveshau vyavastitau tayor navashamagachetau hyasya paripanthinau. Both attachment and repulsion for sense objects rest in the senses. One should not come under their control because they are obstacles in one's path towards self-realization. Shloka 423. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasaha yajñāyācharatah karma samagram praviliyate. The action of a person who is unattached to material nature is liberated and has a mind situated in transcendental knowledge is dissolved into transcendence. The seventh bell, becoming dear to Bhagavan Krishna. Shloka 716. Chaturvidha bhajante mam janah sukritinarjuna arto jijñāsurarthārthi jñāni ca bharatarshava. There are four kinds of people who are devoted to me. They are the distressed, those seeking knowledge, people desiring material gain, and people of wisdom. Shloka 717. Tesham jnani nitya yukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnaninyodhyarthamaham sacha mama priyaha. Of those, the one of wisdom who is engaged in devotional service is the best. I am dear to such a knower, and he or she in turn is dear to me. Shloka 1330. Yada bhuta pratagbhavam ekastham anupashyati tata eva ca vistaram brahma sampadhyate tada. When a man sees the whole variety of beings resting in the One and spreading from that alone, he attains the realization of Brahman. The 12th chapter, the Bhakti Yoga of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, has only 20 verses which teach devotees the way to worship Bhagavan Krishna and meditate upon him. Bhagavan Krishna explains to Arjuna about the things one could do in order to be dear to him. However, Bhagavan also says that he is the same to all and never partial to anyone. Shloka 929. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. I am the same to all living beings. There is no one I am partial to. However, those who worship me with love and devotion are in me, and I too am in them. Bhagavan Krishna is not affected by anyone or anything, but people who are sincerely devoted to him and follow his teachings are more confident about themselves, which make them stronger and highly efficient in whatever they do. With the feeling of the presence of Krishna within them, they perform even better and succeed in all their endeavors. They are like children who have doting parents. Children love the affection, the attention, and care they receive from their father, mother, or both, and this helps them be their best and excel at school and in other activities. Shloka 12.01 Arjuna Vacha Evam Satata Yuktaye Bhaktastvam Paryupasate Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vittamaha. Arjuna said, those devotees who are ever steadfast and worship you, and those who also worship the imperishable and the formless absolute, which of them are better versed in yoga? Shloka 12.02 Sri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Veshya Mano Yemam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. Sri Bhagavan Krishna said, those who, fixing their minds on me, worship me, ever steadfast and endowed with supreme faith, I regard them as the best of yogis. Shloka 12.03 Ye tvaksharamanirdesyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyam cha kutastham achalam dhruvam. Shloka 12.04 Samniyamyendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhayaha te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhutahite rataha. Shlokas 12.03 and 12.04 Those who worship the imperishable, the indefinable, the unmanifest, the omnipresent, the unthinkable, the eternal, the formless and the immovable, have their senses controlled, possess a balanced mind, and are engaged in the welfare of others, certainly come to me. Do I need a vigraha or an image to visualize Bhagavan Krishna and worship him? Shloka 12.05 Klesho dekataras tesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta he gatir dukkham dehavat piravapyate. Those whose minds are set on an unmanifest and impersonal absolute power face difficulties in reaching the goal. This is because people always identify with the body, and when there is no perceptible form, it is difficult to perceive. Shloka 12.06 Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparaha Ananyeneva yogena mam jayanta upasate. Shloka 12.07 Teshamaham samudharta mritti samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha maya veshita chetasam. Shlokas 12.06 and 12.07 But to those who worship me, renouncing all actions in me, regarding me as a supreme goal, meditating on me with single-minded yoga, to those whose minds are set on me, Arjuna, I certainly become the savior out of the ocean of the mortal samsara. Shloka 12.09 Athachittam samadhatum na shaknoshi maisthiram abhyasa yogena tato mami chaptum dhananjaya. If you are unable to fix your mind steadily on me, then by the yoga of constant practice, seek to reach me, Arjuna. Shloka 12.10 Abhyasepyasya marthosi matkarma paramo bhava madartham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. If you are unable to practice even this Abhyasa Yoga, be intent on doing actions for my sake. Even by doing actions for my sake, you shall attain perfection. Shloka 12:11. Athaitadapya shaktosi kartum madyogamashritah sarvakarma phalatyagam tatah kuru yatatmavan. If you are unable to do even this, then taking refuge in union with me, with perfect self-control, renounce the fruits of all your actions. Shloka 12:12. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasa jnanat dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phalatyagas tyagachantiranantaram. Better indeed is knowledge than practice. Then knowledge, meditation is better. The renunciation of the fruits of action is better than meditation, and just after such renunciation comes peace. Shloka 12:13. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitrah karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukhakshami. Shloka 12:14. Santushtaha satatam yogi yatatma dridha nishayah mayyarpita mano buddhiryo madbhakta same priyah. Shlokas 12:13 and 14. A person who hates no creature, is friendly and compassionate to all, is free from attachment and egoism, remains balanced in pleasure and pain, is always forgiving, is ever content, is steady in meditation, is of firm conviction, stays self-controlled, and always dedicated to me, is dear to me. Shloka 12:15. Yasman nodvijate loko, lokan nodvijate jayah, harsha marsha bhayodvegair mukto yasichame priyah. The one by whom neither is the world agitated, nor is the person agitated by the world, is free from joy, envy, fear, and anxiety, is dear to me. Shloka 12:16. Anapekshaha shuchirdaksha udasino gatavyatah sarvarambha parityagi yo madbhaktaha same priyah. A person who is free from wants, is pure, skilled, dispassionate, and untroubled, renounces all undertakings or commencements, and remains devoted to me, is dear to me. Shloka 12:17. Yo na hrishyati na dveshti na shochati na kankshati shubha shubha parityagi bhaktiman yasame priyah. He who is beyond joy and hate, neither grieves nor desires, renounces good and evil, and is full of devotion, is dear to me. Shloka 12:18. Samashatro jamitre cha tathamanaapamanayoho shitoshna sukhadukkeshu samasanga vivarjitah. Shloka 12:19. Tulya nindastu tirmoni santushto yena kenachit aniketah sthiramatir bhaktiman me priyo narah. Shlokas 12:18 and 19. He to whom foe and friend are the same, faces equally honor and dishonor, is the same in cold and heat as well as in pleasure and pain, is free from attachment, to whom admonishment and praise are equal, is silent, remains contented with whatever comes to him, is not attached to any place, is with a steady mind full of devotion. Shloka 12:20. Yetu dharmyamritamidam yathoktam paryupasate shraddhadhana matparama bhaktaste tiva me priyah. Those devotees who follow this immortal dharma, as I have taught above, are endowed with faith and regard me as the supreme goal, are exceedingly dear to me. with sincere gratitude to our ancestors who protected and passed on the divine Sanatana Dharma to us. May you all stay abundantly blessed. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.